Good morning. Welcome to the broadcast again. Thank you for allowing me to come into your home. We'll start a new message today. I just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling me. I would like to thank you every week. Appreciate it more than you know. I appreciate the opportunity to even preach the gospel. So thank you, Jesus. I want to start a new message today on fruitfulness, just looking at being fruitful Christians, fruitful believers, disciples. The Word speaks a lot about fruit. So we'll look at it for a week or two and see where we go with this. It's the natural order for living things. Just go look in Genesis chapter 1. He created this and said, be fruitful and multiply. Then he created something else, said, be fruitful and multiply. Then he looked at Adam and Eve and he said, be fruitful and multiply. Everything God touches, everything that has the life of God in it, is fruitful. And without the life of God, we can't really produce good fruit. That's fruit regardless, but good fruit, eternal fruit that, So that's what we'll be looking at more and more. John 15, we're going to be in John 15 a good bit, in and out, and also Luke chapter 5, and maybe a few other passages. Let's see how far we get today. John 15, 8, and then we'll come back to it later. It says, my Father, this is Jesus talking, my Father is glorified by this one thing here. And he says that you bear much fruit. You produce lots of fruit. Then he says, this will also show or prove that you're one of my disciples. If we don't produce fruit, we're not a disciple. Now, we're going to see a little bit later on, too, where this fruit comes from. It's from him. It's fruit of the Spirit in a life that's yielded to the Spirit. That's the only way we can produce it, because we can't produce this kind of fruit on our own, not in our natural works or ideas. And I was taught early on in my Christian walk that the fruit of a Christian is another Christian. You've probably been taught that too. And that's not wrong. That's part of it. But if you concentrate on that, you will miss the larger picture of being fruitful. It's not just about soul winning. It is about us, first and foremost, producing the fruit of Jesus Christ in our lives. In fact, without that, we're not going to really be much of a testimony anyway. In fact, we won't be a testimony. Now, it's the product, I said a minute ago, of being yielded to the Spirit of God. It is a process, and it is the product of being yielded, a born-again, yielded life. I personally believe that fruit is first and foremost for the Lord himself. We are, in a sense, his garden. He planted us. He created us. He sowed his word in us. And he wants to be able to come to us and enjoy the fruit of our lives. You need to think of it that way. What am I giving to Jesus that will make him pleased that he can come? And then, of course, that will bring a produce for other people to feed on also. And I think Father is very pleased with the fruit or the character of his Son in our lives. So that's what it's about. We need to be able to have something for Jesus when he comes. Kind of like the fig tree. He cursed the little fig tree because it didn't have any fruit for him, even though it wasn't the season for figs. Now, don't get too bent out of shape about that. He was trying to teach him about faith. But it also tells me that we are told to be instant in and out of season. We don't have just certain times we're supposed to be fruitful. We should always be ready for Jesus comes to partake of something in our lives, to bring him joy, that we've got something for him to feast on. And if we don't, we're going to see a little bit later, if we don't produce this fruit, we also will wither up like the fig tree did. Now, Luke 8:15, Luke 8, I better say, is the parable of the sower. Now, we've looked at that a lot, and it talks about bearing fruit. So I'm going to go back and break it up a little bit. I'm going to use different verses In one verse, I will say, this is the parable. And then several verses down, Jesus will say, this is the explanation. It just helps me to understand it better. Maybe it'll help you. Verse 5, Luke 8, verse 5. It says, the sower went out to sow his seed. And as he sowed, some seed fell beside the road, and it was trampled on, and the birds of the air came and ate it. So there was no fruit produced. The seed was wasted, in other words. Now, verse 12 is the explanation. Jesus said these people heard the word. In other words, they might have gone to church or listened to me on TV or something, or read the Bible. They heard the word, but it says the devil stole it out of their hearts before it could produce any fruit. In fact, it said before they could even believe. See, the word gets sown in and it produces faith, belief, and then from that fruit grows. Well, they were being blocked. The seed couldn't do what it's supposed to do, and that is called